What's up, guys? Just a quick announcement here. Contrary to what is said in the video, this week we took a slightly different approach with our show and broke it into two parts for the sake of video length. The next half of the show, our mid-season review, will be released in the next day or two, so be on the lookout for it. Until then, enjoy our recap of the Texas-West Virginia game. What's going on, guys? Texas Platinum is back with another episode. As you can see, Matt Madrid is not here tonight. He is doing important lawyer stuff for his future career, so we wish him luck on that. But today, of course, we're going to be talking a little bit about the West Virginia game that ensued last weekend, as well as kind of a mid-season review. We didn't really have a chance to do that thus far in the season. We feel like there's a lot of talking points just to that, and also coupled with the bye week and Kansas coming up, which is kind of a meh game. I figured that now is a great time to kind of just dissect the season as it is at the moment. With all that said, before we hop into it, we're going to ask you to, as always, please subscribe. Give us a turkey, like Matt Meyer said last episode. Subscribe, like, comment. If you do all three, you're awesome. And then also, just a quick reminder, we got timestamps below in the description. So if you just want to hear the mid-season review, don't want to hear about the West Virginia game, scroll down. You'll see the time code. Just click on it and you'll skip ahead. But otherwise, if you want to hear about West Virginia, we are starting right now. So, Matt Myers, talk a little bit about the West Virginia game. What did you see? What did you like? And what did you dislike?
Yeah, there was a lot of ugly and a lot of good in this game. It was a really good balance of bad things and good things. So obviously, when you talk about this game, the first thing that stood out to me and all the Longhorns was definitely Bijan kind of emerging. We've been waiting for him to do that for a while, and it finally just put it all together in one game. And honestly, it was the staff should have definitely fed him more. He didn't get enough touches at all, and we had that big gap where he didn't touch the ball in the second quarter. It seemed like, again, I don't know why they don't feed this guy. I mean, he's one of our best players in the team. So Bijan was definitely showing just, why he was the number one recruit running back in the class. So love to see him, getting more comfortable with the speed of college football in the Big 12. And, the defense, man, every week it seems like they're getting better and better. You got to give Herman credit for hiring Chris Ash because he's looking like a great hire. He's finally adjusting to the Big 12, albeit he's not playing great quarterbacks at all right now. I mean, it's been we probably played the two – or maybe the three, if you include Kansas next week. Some of the worst Big 12 quarterbacks in this last couple of weeks. So it's going to definitely pick up for him. But, I mean, he's making the most out of it against these offenses, and he's giving them trouble shutting down the run. So, yeah, I mean, those are the first two things that stand out to me. But I'll get into more of it in a second. But, DeMarvion Overshown as well. He's every week, man, he's like a sponge. He just looks more natural and natural linebacker. And he had that really clutch sack for us on that fourth down play that really just kind of flipped the game because they're about to go in and score and I think take the lead. And, that play kind of just gave us momentum back and kept them off the board. So DeMarvion's, he's doing a great job, and so is the defense as a whole. So, yeah, I can't complain. I mean, it was a win. I mean, that's what I expect now with Herman, just ugly wins, but we'll take them. So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, as excited as I was to see Bijan really break out, especially in the first quarter, especially that first drive. I mean, dude pretty much made up all the yards. I remember even texting you guys. I was like, our offense is balling this game. Here we go. And then, and then sure enough, it turns out to be a 17-point win. And 17-point score for us in a win. And it went downhill from there. It became an incredibly boring game if you're not a hardcore ET or West Virginia fan. But yeah, as exciting as it was to see Bijan just kind of break out, I was very disappointed. I was like, wow, this is his coming out party game, much like, all the Texas great running backs that we've seen over the years, the Cedric Bensons, the Ricky Williams, hell, even Deontay Foreman. They all had, kind of these big games that you can look back to and be like, whoa, that's when it happened. And I felt like it happened this game and that the coaching staff hindered it. And their reasoning for it is he's not quite ready to get all these carries, blah, 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 blah. Maybe he's not in shape yet, but I just don't buy that. It just seems to be the staff's philosophy. I don't know if that's more Herman or Yurcich or Stan Drayton. I'm guessing it's more him because he's the running back coach. But obviously, all of Longhorn Nation, I feel like, was in agreement that that was a foolish decision to pull the guy that's averaging like, what was it, 10 yards a carry. And I mean, Roshan, he was doing decent, but nowhere near as good as Bijan. And sometimes you just got to feed the hot hand, and ride with that. And I think that he didn't step out of bounds on that one run. And a lot of people are saying the same thing. But man, when you watch that replay back, it's not like an obvious step out of bounds. And I just wish that he kept running. Dude is too kind and too nice, too respectful to the refs. If he kept running and just went into the end zone, they probably would have looked at it again, but instead he stopped. And I don't know. What do you think?
That play was so cool, man. Like it didn't look like he was out of bounds at all. I mean,
No.
I tried to watch every single angle. Like it's just crazy the ref blew it so fast because, I mean, every angle I saw, it looked like he was still in bounds, and he thought he was still in bounds.
Yeah.
And, if he would have completed that play and he would have stayed in bounds and it would have been a touchdown, dude, that would have been like the highlight of.
Oh, yeah.
And that's just – you're just starting to see it. Like, even on the first play of the game, was it, when they handed it off to Bijan?
Yeah, first play.
Seeing how dynamic he is. And he's not even like explosive speed running back. He's just such a natural football player with – he just makes people miss. He's strong. He's built like a brick. And he's just super elusive. So you're just seeing it. You're seeing he's going to be like a walking highlight. And, like you said, I don't know why Herman does this. I mean, he did the same thing with Keontae. It's like he said he's too young to get more than 10 carries a game or something. He wasn't ready for it. But I don't understand that. Like, maybe Keontae makes sense because he was built like a receiver or something. But Bijan's like by far our best built running back we have. And, our receivers aren't helping us out at all now. They're not very good at all. So why are we not feeding Bijan? He's our best thing we have on offense, especially with Sam looking like he's regressed or hurt or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Definitely disappointing to see him, not being utilized fully. But then again, maybe they do overutilize him and he does get hurt. Maybe we sound like idiots then. So who knows? But I'm just grateful that we have Bijan, on the team. He's getting dicey there at the end. They were saying he was going to flip to Ohio State and stuff like that. But it's just he's just a great kid. He's like a very happy kid, very humble kid. So yeah, I just love to see him keep on balling. Like, he makes it fun to watch this offense. He's one of the few bright spots right now.
Yeah, and you just got to hope that it doesn't, all hell doesn't break loose in the next season, and he ends up transferring, because that would suck so bad. But yeah, I mean, it was. I'm really excited to see how he continues to progress, and I'm really looking forward to seeing his vision progress, because I do think that he has good vision, but it comes in spurts. Like, it's not like a consistent, it's not, you don't see it on every run, is what I'm saying. And I do think that eventually, maybe after, a year or two, I think it'll be a consistent thing. Kind of like what I said earlier with like Deontay Foreman as like the most recent comparison as a great Texas back. He definitely showed flashes, I remember, as a freshman, and built on that as a sophomore, and then come his junior year, his vision was fantastic, I thought. So I'm excited to see that progression over time, without doubt.
Yeah, one last thing on Bijan. He's like the first player I can remember in a long time for Texas that I get like so excited when I see him in the open field and I see somebody like trying to tackle him one-on-one. I see the tackle about to happen. I'm like, all right, this is gonna be cool, because he's gonna make you miss or spin or run through you. So it's really hard to bring down in the open field, and we'll see more of that and more of that. Yeah, like it's you gotta like gang tackle him, or hopefully the D-line stuffs the run to stop him, because he's a nightmare to tackle in open space. So he's just a lot of fun to watch.
And I want to see him get more into open space. I want to do some screen game with him, because, I mean, we saw that last game, versus West Virginia, just how lethal he is, and I feel like we haven't used him consistently in that way. It's been a lot of run up the middle or, run left, right, but not getting him outside. Especially with our receivers struggling so much, I'm curious to see him try catching a few balls.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely needed to. I mean, we saw like on the last drive that wheel route. We need more of that.
Yeah,
He's so
exactly.
dynamic, and
Perfect.
yeah, with our receivers not being great this year. But let's transition that into Sam now. Speaking of, the offense sputtering, Sam. I don't know, man. I don't know what is wrong with him. It was to the point this first half of this last game against West Virginia where I was ready to like just put in Casey and just see if he can make the offense, just give it a boost for the day. I'm not saying bench Sam or anything, but in that particular game Saturday, like I don't see why we wouldn't just like, just see like we needed to spark because
Yeah.
I don't know. I know he doesn't get much help from the receivers, but he misses so many throws now, like more than I've ever seen him. Even as a freshman, I think he was more accurate. I mean, statistically, he's probably not, but he's like it just feels like he's missing so many throws now. I mean, that one go route was it to Brennan Eagles he had? He was wide open, and it was just like a
Yeah.
Case McCoy duck, not even close. I was like, that like blew my mind. I'm like, what happened to this guy? Like, he used to be making these throws. So I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's got to be injuries. I think I don't know. Maybe it just got worse. But yeah, what are your thoughts on Sam, man? We've been suspecting that he's been getting worse, and then after Saturday, it's just like Jesus. Like it's so blatant now. Like he hurts us a lot of the time.
He does. Yeah. I have no idea. I mean, a lot of people are saying injury. I don't see it. I don't see something that obviously points to injury. I mean, maybe I think you said last show maybe it had something to do with his hand or a finger or something. But if it was, I feel like he'd have a finger taped up or something. And I don't think it's his legs. Maybe he's just not. Maybe his body's getting used up. We've used him so hard, for these past 4 years. Maybe that's it. I really have no idea. I still think that he should start because he's the undisputed leader of the team. He's probably the most experienced football college quarterback right now. So I'd say ride with him as long as you can, especially in his senior year. It wouldn't look good to bench him unless it was something like when we do play Kansas in a couple of weeks here. If we by some miracle, which all indications this season does not point to this, but if we got up a big lead early and then pulled Sam at the half and then had Casey Thompson and Hudson Card split time in the third and fourth quarter, that would be ideal just to give them some confidence and stuff in case Sam does go down or if we do decide to go ahead and pull him. But yeah, I mean, he's missing so many passes. And then whenever he hits, our receivers find a way to drop the ball or just they aren't making plays. I mean, the only receiver that I feel like that I can trust to go make a play is Josh Moore. And he doesn't get targets half the game. I mean, these past two games, Oklahoma State and West Virginia, I think he's only had one target for a touchdown. Well, I mean, one target period, and it happened to be for the game-winning touchdown in overtime. I don't get it. I don't get him, why that's the case. Does the coaching staff have a problem with him? Is he like purposely not getting targets? Is he bad at getting open? I have not a clue. I guess I need to be paying more attention to more before he catches the ball. But it's very bizarre. Our wide receiver core is just I want to say that they're not good, and I feel like that's inaccurate because they're a very talented group, but it might be coaching with them. I don't know, which is weird because they got this new coach that has all this NFL experience, and it's all a big question mark. Myers, what do you agree with all that?
Yeah, it's frustrating, man, because I mean these are like we're not lighting the world on fire in receiver recruiting, obviously. I mean Jake Smith's he's been good. He's a highly ranked guy, so I mean Jake Smith's kind of the exception, but he's still not been great. Like he's he's getting better, but he's had a rough season and he's been hampered by injury. But I mean, we still have other 4-star guys. I mean, they're not like dying. That's my gripe with Herman is he doesn't recruit the type of receivers that we need. He gets like big bodies that aren't the most fluid in the hips and stuff like that. You know, Brennan Eagles, I guess. I mean, he's fast, I guess, but like Malcolm Epps. I mean, Brendan Schooler. These dudes, I just don't know how talented they are. I mean, they're ranked high out of high school, but I mean, go and watch like Baylor wide receivers. Not Iowa State. They have bad receivers this year, but Oklahoma State receivers. These guys are ranked lower, but they look so much more athletic.
Yeah.
So I think Herman's done a poor job evaluating receivers, and he doesn't prioritize explosiveness, which I think is so
He
important
doesn't.
in the Big 12.
And I think that's by choice. I'm guessing that based off of the type of offense that he runs in that power spread, that he's looking for receivers that are good at blocking. That's just a guess. But yeah, I think he definitely looks more for those big body receivers that can do multiple things. But yeah, I agree. We definitely need more speed guys. I mean, we have Deshaun Jameson as like our punt returner. And I mean, Jake Smith is fast, but dude hasn't, fully come out of his shell yet. Again, you see him in like little flashes. And I mean, Whittington was supposed to be a star guy and he just keeps getting hurt. So yeah, I mean, we need to find something like that soon. I mean, I guess Josh Moore's fast too, but still, it's not consistent enough. It's more of the big body guys that if they made catches consistently, great. That's what LJ was. That's what Colin was, but none of these guys have been reliable yet. So not only is it a catching issue, but, they also don't have speed. So you got to have one or the other. And currently they have none in most of these guys on their team.
Yeah, and Kai Money is not the most athletic guy
yeah,
either.
What are you doing?
It's kind of embarrassing if we have this guy in there playing. I mean,
every game.
Story. Yeah, but
I can't think of one game that he has not played. At least a couple snaps. And it's like in important moments too. Like the Oklahoma State game I think he was in some key drives, and I'm like, stop. Like, no offense to Kai Money. I'm sure he's a cool dude, but geez, I mean,
like
put your best guys out there.
We have like Alvonte Woodard, Marcus Washington, guys like that are like pretty highly ranked 4-stars on the bench that rarely play, and they don't look great when they're in there. I mean, but they show signs. I mean, you got to develop these guys. I mean, that's what's so disappointing because we punted on hiring a rainmaker receiver. We went and hired Andre Coleman, who's not the best receiver, but he's supposed to be known for his developing, like his ability to develop players.
Right.
And he hasn't done that. We don't have any go-to receivers that have been reliable and consistent. And we had those like with Drew Maringer and stuff, which is frustrating. But yeah, man, it's rough. The receivers really just kind of hamper the offense, and you can see it every week. But then, I mean, how much is the receivers? Because if you go and watch all the plays, like all the passes, Sam rarely puts the ball exactly where it should be, like
right.
ever. So they're always having to make plays that are tough to make, but they still should be doing a lot better. And another comment I want to say is whenever we run those drag routes with like Brennan Eagles and people like little 5-yard drag routes across the middle of the field, those always are successful. I don't know why I run those every play. Like we need to always run those until they stop them. I don't know why we try to go downfield so much because clearly Sam's not good at that. And secondly, we don't have speed guys to outrun people that often. I mean, it'll happen every now and then Sam will miss the pass. So those drag routes definitely need to be our bread and butter in the passing game, and we need to see more of that. Yeah. But we don't see that at all. But I want to go back to Sam a second before we move on. And I'm not the biggest Tom Herman fan, obviously, but I kind of wonder if Sam Ehlinger has kind of gave this whole offense and this whole team a ceiling, because he's never going to be a gunslinger. I mean, even at his peak moments, he still had he was great, but he still had like limitations. And
yeah,
I just wonder if he had like a surgeon in there, like maybe Hudson Card can be that. He seems very natural at quarterback, and I don't know. I feel like he could be a lot better than Sam. I wonder if maybe Sam Ehlinger's been holding us back all these years. And I'm not saying to bench him or anything. He's a great quarterback, but maybe for this offense, the power spread, maybe he's not the perfect fit for it. And I don't know. I just wonder. I wonder how this team will look with like Hudson Card under center. Not saying to bench Sam, obviously, because Card's definitely not ready to do that like consistently, like every game. But
Right.
I just wonder, maybe next year with Hudson, how we're going to look compared to how he looked these last 4 years with Sam. Even with bad receivers, I feel like Hudson could find a way to make things happen. But I don't know. That's just kind of me wondering.
No,
Just
I
trying to
agree.
understand like why we are the way we are.
Yeah, no, I mean, really, all those guys might actually be better throwers. I mean, Jaquinton Jackson's got a hose for sure, and Casey, I, I'm assuming he's at least as good, if not maybe a tad better at the, especially at the deep ball than Sam. I don't know. I haven't seen him enough to really judge him, but I know for sure that Hudson Card can throw with a lot of precision. And that Jaquinton can do long balls really well. So, yeah, that's an excellent point. But then again, I mean, everyone likes to compare Sam to Tim Tebow, and if you want to do that, well, Tim Tebow won a ton of games. Uh, it's really just about how you fit the offense around your players, and maybe you're right. Maybe the Yursich offense just doesn't quite suit Sam. Maybe it's more of the Tim Beck offense that we had Sam's sophomore year of college. That was really a lot more about power running, having a dominant O-line, and then having big, reliable receivers like LJ and Colin that you can throw jump balls to and then run with Sam. Maybe that's it. And we ditched that mid-season last year, maybe even sooner. Maybe it was right at the beginning of last year, and certainly don't have that right now. But yeah, you might be right. Maybe that's it. Our O-line just isn't what it used to be, though. So, but touching on the O-line, this was by far their best game of the year. They really stepped it up, especially against this really good West Virginia D-line. All of the guys, really. I mean, even the worst one, even the worst O-lineman on our O-line, I feel like played a very good game. So props to them. And I think there was one or two penalties, maybe just one on Christian Jones. But yeah, very clean game as well for them. That came out of nowhere. So
Yeah,
good for them.
definitely. I mean, you got to give Herb Hand some credit because
he showed up.
Yeah, and I want to see us improve in the run block more because a lot of the time there's no holes at all for the running backs, and Bizon's having to do crazy things to get positive plays. But yeah, I mean the pass pro was really good Saturday. I thought Sam had more than enough time on most throws. So
plenty of time.
Yeah, he didn't get touched. It seemed like so. Yeah, I mean you can't complain when and that's what's frustrating. Like we finally got a good offensive line performance, and Sam was just couldn't hit the side of a barn door or whatever the saying is. So, yeah, I mean, it's like something's always off of the offense. It's very frustrating, and every week seems to be getting a little bit worse. So, I mean, hopefully Kansas will help us get some momentum back on that side of the ball. But, yeah, offense has just been really like every week's its own journey with the offense.
Right. It's a different issue pretty much. So, yeah, pretty frustrating. If they want to win a Big 12 championship, even though I do really think at this point that they can very well win out. In fact, maybe I wouldn't say it's likely, but I'd say highly possible that they win out at this point and get there. You're not going to win a Big 12 championship with offense like that, especially if it's against Oklahoma, which I very well think it can be. That'd be my bet. Or in Oklahoma State, which at this point we played them once. When we play him again, I have faith that Gundy can make the correct adjustments to, really take advantage of our defense and maybe account for Asai a little bit better the second time around.
Yeah, I mean, if we go to the Big 12 championship against anybody that's not OU, we could definitely win that game in an ugly win. But if we play OU, it's just how Sam's done the last 2 years, and the O-line's been worked, and they've gotten so much better. Like I don't expect us. I mean, we see what we are every week. We're just a team that's average to decent at times, and yeah, there's no way we're beating OU right now at all. So we need to definitely get better everywhere if we want to beat OU.
Yep. Let's move on to the defense. What stood out to you in this game? I mean, all of it was good, but what
Yeah.
comes to mind?
You know, Jarrett Dagey was clearly uncomfortable the entire game. Like I said before the game, we were saying if you get pressure on him, he's not going to dice you up too easily. He struggles with pass rush, and we didn't get like a boatload of sacks, but we did get some sacks, and we made him feel the pressure a lot. And in coverage, when it wasn't over the middle or like underneath, I feel like we were good downfield, really good downfield
Yeah.
on the back end. But those underneath routes were hurting us all game long. TJ Simmons, he would catch those little slant routes over the middle and take them 15, 20 yards. But I mean, that's just nitpicking. I thought the D line played really well. I was really excited to see Moro Ojimo. There was a moment where I was like, dang, Moro Ojimo might be a bust, but he's really shut me up since then because I was so excited when he signed with Texas because I thought he had so much potential. But he started off slow, I thought, this season, but he's definitely picked it up. He had a big time sack Saturday, so I'm encouraged to see that, especially with Coburn out. I don't know how long he's going to be out for, but D line looked good. Tavondre Sweat looked good. Aside, he didn't have like an Oklahoma State level game, but he made some big plays as always, and he just keeps on improving his draft stock week by week. But yeah, I mean, Caden Stearns. I don't know about Caden Stearns. I don't know what's going on with him. He does some great things, does some really bad things.
I don't think his heart's in it anymore. And I hope that I'm wrong when I say that because dude has so much talent and seems like from my assumption, he seems like a good leader, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But from the outside looking in, he just doesn't seem to play with the passion that he did as a freshman. And he, as a captain, you feel like he'd have this big commanding presence. And maybe that's just not him, but I mean, I see it with Chris Brown, and having that big alpha dog presence. But yeah, with Caden, he like if he didn't have the name on the back of his jersey and the captain sticker on the front of it, he just looked like a dude, and I don't get that. And that's pretty sad to think about because he looks so good as a freshman.
Yeah, I just miss freshman Caden. I remember him blocking that USC kick, always bringing juice, hitting super hard. Ball hawk. He'd have so many interceptions. Yeah, I mean, maybe the off-field stuff like mess with him. He's just like mentally somewhere else now. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's sad to see. I just wonder like Xavier Alfred's a guy that I really liked out of high school, and whenever he was in there at safety, like against UTEP, I thought he looked good. I know he's a freshman, but we got talent in that room, a lot of it. So I don't know. Maybe Tyler Owens is healthy now too, I believe. So
I
don't know. I thought I saw him playing Saturday. I could be totally wrong. And I apologize. Like, I have not been paying as close to attention to this team as I usually do.
Well, no one has.
Yeah, very, very frustrated, apathetic for my standards. So I could be saying something crazy. But, yeah, I mean, Caden Stearns, I want to see somebody else get in there. I mean, I don't want to write Stearns off yet, but I want to see him, go back to his freshman ways.
Agreed. And then, of course, we got to give a shout-out to Alfred Collins for nearly getting a big man pick six right through his hands. I hope he gets to redeem that at some point in his career because, I mean, that doesn't happen every day for a D lineman. Maybe a fumble recovery for a touchdown, but a pick like that with a wide open, and the convoy too to be able to take it to the end zone, that really broke my heart in some ways to see someone, and you could tell that he was. I hope it just doesn't get into his head where, every time he's constantly thinking about that. But yeah, he'll definitely remember that play for the rest of his life. Because I mean, when you're a big man in general, anytime that you can get a ball, whether that's a fumble recovery or a pick or anything like that, it's a big deal. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, as talented as he is, I bet he'll have another opportunity to have some splash plays like that in his career. So
Yeah, I
He'll
mean,
avenge it, I believe.
dude looks good. Like I mean, he looks. Even though I know we commented on him at the beginning of the season, maybe it was the off season that he just, he looked kind of skinny for a D lineman. But I mean, dude's got such a big frame. Like I am really excited to see him, in the next year or two, and he puts on more weight, more muscle, and grows into his body, because I don't think he's done growing yet. But I mean, he looks huge. Just not like big muscle and bulk and everything, but just size wise, he looks massive.
Definitely. Love our D line, talent everywhere, and a lot of it's coming back. So you got to give Oscar Giles credit. We got some big boys in that room. So
That's
yeah,
true.
another thing I want to comment on is kind of off the radar. I don't know why I waited to say it right now, but West Virginia's defensive backs know how to play the football. I don't know who their defensive back coach is, but he's elite, because there were so many plays that we had like good passes, completions, and then they just come in there and rip it out. So shout out to West Virginia's defensive back coach. I wish we could play the ball like that all the time. So another thing about West Virginia, Neil Brown, heck of a coach. I really like him. I listened to his post-game press conference. Very, very smart, likable guy. So, West Virginia, y'all just need to stay the course. Y'all are going to be really good. So I wish we had y'all's coach.
Yeah. I don't know if they had the best game though. I really don't. I don't.
Like the
I
fourth
mean,
downs.
yeah, that, and just the game plan as well. I mean, of course, you got to give credit to our defense for playing really well, because I know that they did. But I still think, I mean, just based on the optics, I felt like this wasn't West Virginia's best game on both sides of the ball. But maybe I'm wrong in saying that. I don't know. Just what I saw from this game. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, this is definitely not the most talented West Virginia team we've seen. You could tell like immediately, especially with Letty Brown. He got hurt like on the first drive, I believe, and that kind of just ruined him the whole game. So, um, yeah, I mean, there were definitely stuff they left out there. I mean, they dropped a touchdown that could have won them the game pretty much. Like, remember, or given them the lead in an important time. And, yeah, they left a lot of stuff out there, So definitely we got to be frustrated if you're a Mountaineers fan. And you got to be happy if you're Tom Herman. But, yeah, I mean, it is what it is.
Yep. And then I guess final things to touch on, special teams continuing to improve every week. I felt like I was seeing Michael Dixon back there punting the football. I mean, the way that Buchevsky was pinning him deep, and I think it was Josh Thompson that was being the gunner to get the ball down inside the 5. Those two really good punts. So shout out to them for getting that figured out. With the caveat that now Buchevsky is out for probably the season. That sucks, but we'll see how Dicker does as a punter. I'm actually very curious. But the good thing, like I said, our schedule, these next 3 games are probably some of our easiest games. I know everyone's going to say that Iowa State, is going to be a challenge. I'll continue to stand by the point that I really don't buy them as a team. They seem very up and down, but I guess we are too. So we'll see what happens come that week. But Kansas State and Kansas, I'm not overly concerned about in terms of a punter, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm less confident in the Iowa State game than you are. Brock Purdy, definitely the best quarterback we have left in the schedule. So, yeah, we'll see when we get there.
And even then, I feel like he's worse than Sam, though. Like his production this season's been horrible. I think he has a lower passer rating than Sam does, and Sam doesn't have a good one, obviously.
Yeah, I agree. But just like relative to Jarrett Dagey and Charlie Brewer and these quarterbacks we've been facing, the Kansas quarterback, the Kansas State quarterback, I think him and Breece Hall together, that's a good 1-2 punch, I think, in Austin. Yeah. I mean, I didn't respect Iowa State, too, until they beat us last year, and we looked horrible, and they have that really good defense. That's that they always seem to, stifle good teams in the Big 12. So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see when they get there. I don't know why we're talking about Iowa State right now, but
looking ahead.
Heck yeah.
Any final points for this game before we move on? I mean, we kind of hammered it into the ground, I think.
We won, but didn't inspire ultimate
No.
confidence in the future of the program, and didn't translate to any recruiting good news. I don't think so. I mean, we'll take it week by week.
Yep. Agreed. All right. Well, that wraps up this show. Guessing that it was a pretty long one because I feel like we talked for a while about this, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I know that we both did. Expect to see Madrid back for the next show that we got coming up. Just continue to, follow us and drop us a like, leave us a comment, let us know your thoughts about the season thus far. Subscribe if you haven't already. And enjoy the bye week. A week off to not have to worry about Texas football and go do something fun. Enjoy this nice weather. With all that said, y'all take care. Okay.